Hello goblins, it's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. I'm still at the tail end of my cold, so I'm still not smoking right at the moment. So today I'm going to show you where I'm at with those pipes that I was started on the last video. There's going to be some more whiskey tasting after that, because that's fun. Well, it is for me anyway. So, I think I showed you the start of Viking Horn and an author pipe. And here they are. Well, this is the Viking Horn. This is sanded up to 800 grit now and is ready for buffing. So I am looking forward to that fellow. He's going to be great. And this is the author. That I'm really pleased with. The author is an awkward shape to do because there's a bunch of ways to do it. I've seen a bunch of ways to do it. I just want to show you the lines. I always have like this ideal in my head when I'm doing an author, and I can almost never quite get there. But I really feel that I've pretty well got there this time. And partly it was because I cast a larger rod diameter. And I think the author really benefits from a kind of a more substantial stem. And also there's a kind of a taper in at the sides as well. So the shank isn't just straight, but it kind of blends in, not just top and bottom, but kind of blends in as well from the side. Kind of a 360 taper, if that's what I mean. So that's those are both, you might have noticed they were both stained the same way. It's a chocolate and yellow contrast. So it's a very traditional, very classy look. They were made as a pair and are for the same customer. So I'll probably do a little video when I've done those and just show you them finished, because I think they're going to be super cool. Very happy with those. All right, so some whiskey. Right, last time we did easy drinkers, which I suppose, if I want to translate that to tobacco terms, to pipe tobacco, those would be like everyday smokes. But like pipe smoking, like pipe tobacco, if everything out there was just an everyday smoke, it wouldn't really inspire that much enthusiasm. And both pipe tobacco and whiskey inspire a lot of enthusiasm. The easy drinkers, the everyday smokes, are, you know, that's the stuff that you like. That's the stuff you do on a day-to-day basis. But the things that really make sort of enthusiasts out of us are those special blends. So like those, what would you call, like Holy Grail style tobacco blends, there are also whiskies that do something special. And so I'm going to show you two of them today. I've also been thinking about how to approach these whiskey videos. And I'm sort of going to go with, I think, where possible, to show you something that you might have heard of, and to show you something that you may not have heard of. Now, of course, that's really dependent on what level of whiskey drinker you are. if you are a casual whiskey drinker and you sort of buy the kind of blends that you might find at the supermarket, then I will probably be able to show you things that you haven't heard of. If you are even a moderate whiskey enthusiast, then I will probably be showing you things that you will have heard of. You may not have tried, but you will have heard of them, I should expect. And if you are a, superhero level whiskey enthusiast, then possibly my whiskey picks will appear mundane to you. But anyway, let's start. So the first one today is a little unusual. You may have heard of Compass Box. Their most famous one, I think, is Spice Tree, but they've also done another famous peated one called Peat Monster. You may have come across those. But this is a blended grain whiskey, bottled at 43%. So there's no malt whiskey in it at all. It's all grain. I'm not going to dive into the technicalities between grain whiskey and malt whiskey, except to say that malt whiskey is generally barley that has been malted, that is to say germinated, and the germination process is halted at some point by the application of heat to dry the barley out, which allows extra access to the seed's resources, to the grain's resources, so that, for reasons, for alcohol making reasons, whereas grain whiskey can be made from a variety of grains, and the grains are sort of mashed and made into whiskey. I think there is also they use different processes for making the whiskey, whether it's malt or whether it's grain. The grain process being a faster process, the malt process being a slower process overall, which is why malt tends to get more expensive, the time involved. But this is a blended grain. As I said, bottled at 43. Now, generally, I like whiskies that are bottled a little bit higher than 40%. 40% is okay for some whiskies. It can seem a little bit underpowered a lot of the time. But grain whiskey profile is very different. There's a really sort of pronounced kind of creaminess to it. It's kind of like a custardy. There is a kind of like sweet vanilla nose to it, but kind of like a tart element too. I want to almost say like rhubarb and custard, but maybe a bit greener. Maybe gooseberries and custard. Gooseberry fool. Maybe that's the way to go. Let's have a taste. It's probably one of the sweetest whiskies I've tasted. Comes in that real custard element, really stays. There's that kind of light fruity element to it, and then as it goes down, there's this like that's nice alcohol warmth. I want to say almost gingery. Yeah, that kind of like lemony gingery. For sure. Really unique. I've not tasted anything like it. Smooth as you like. And that's a really... If you've never had well, I don't know what other... I haven't tasted that many grain whiskies, so I don't have anything to compare it to that much. But it's very different from anything else, and it really is... it's kind of like an eye-opener when you try it. It's like, I've never tasted whiskey that tastes like that. And it's very good. The second is a very different beast. This is a single malt. It's an Islay. It's the Ardbeg. So you've probably heard of Ardbeg. The Ardbeg 10 you usually see. You can usually find in supermarkets and stuff. Good supermarkets. But this is the Ardbeg Uigeadail. Bottled at a very healthy 54%. This one does pack a punch. There's no doubt about it. Now the Islay whiskies are known for their peatiness. Ardbeg is known especially for being peaty, and the Uigeadail is an especially peaty expression, so it's quite a peaty whiskey. But there's a lot more going on here. If this was just a peaty whiskey, it wouldn't be that interesting. I mean, yeah, it is smoky for sure, but it's not the a lot of the Islay whiskies that the smoke is really almost briny, has a very oceanic quality to them. This doesn't do that. This is a more toffee, caramel, burnt toffee. It's pretty deep. You can kind of smell the alcohol. It's present. But there's a kind of a green element to it as well. Alright, as you can see, it's quite dark. There's no age statement on the Uigeadail. So I can't tell you. I haven't researched Uigeadail, so I don't know if they like to use a minimum age, or it's just they're always blending different casks, and so there's no point putting an age statement on it. But there's no peaty whiskey like Uigeadail. there is a ton of sweetness in there. I'm probably giving the impression that I like sweet whiskies. I mean, I do. These two just happen to be quite high on the sweet spectrum, but it's balanced so well by that sort of smoky punch. The alcohol makes it feel like rocket fuel, and it's kind of something else. It just says, you know, you can't ignore me, and you can't ignore it. There's no casually drinking Uigeadail, unless you're a beast. It grabs all your attention. It's so bonfire, cinder toffee. My goodness. Both of them cracking whiskies. If you can, I strongly recommend having a go on either of them. Alright, that's my little video for today. I will be back next time with a tobacco review, for sure, and to show you how the pipes turned out. Until then, take it easy, my friends. See you soon. Ta-da.